Hello everyone. We're going live tonight with Cluster B Milkshake. She is a self-aware narcissist and borderline personality disorder. So we're just gonna cover some topics from different points of view. As a kid, I was diagnosed with dyslexia, which was kind of obvious for me at a certain point. What do you call it? ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which I have really under control for a long time, but certain things just can't help. And I'm also an empath. Some people don't know what that is. I definitely do. Just because you're a nice, caring person doesn't mean you are one. And we'll go into that. And with Cluster B Milkshake, it's a cluster of different traits. So we'll cover all that tonight. We'll start in 2 minutes. Let's see. So, join. Let's add this. So, let's see. I'm trying to figure this out. How do we get her to join?
Oh, I'm sideways.
Wait.
Sorry.
Ram Dass shirt. So, we'll give 2 minutes for people to come in on at the right time. So we'll see.
Hey, I get to be on the bottom.
What's that?
I'm always on the bottom. I guess your guests are on the bottom. I know you're also.
Yeah, but at least when this is recorded and shows up, the writing and stuff won't be there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So give it a minute. Got some friends from Facebook too. That's interesting.
You?
Yeah. So
Sweet.
the good thing is I'm the same person everywhere I am. So lucky me. Hello, everybody joining. Thank you so far. We've got another minute before we start. Just to let some people know, we will not be sitting there reading comments the whole time. It's not organic and it's ridiculous because it gets to a point where you might get pulled into a conversation that we don't want to go, and also with all the censors, with Instagram and everything, they don't want you talking about shots, not tequila shots. They don't want you talking about politics because that will just us off the platform, which is not helpful, and then when somebody just looks at stuff that's going on in the world with politics and manipulation and propaganda and stuff like that, if this is triggering the shit out of you and making you unhappy, maybe you need to unplug from that stuff and stop being so involved and look at yourself and look at the people around you where you could really work on that. And this is what's going to help you in your life. Being part of a certain political organization or agenda or movement, you think it's helping people, but it's really not, because it's only a limited perspective. I guarantee Hitler thought he was the greatest person on earth, right? So we have to look at things from a different perspective. And we're going to go look at certain topics tonight, and we're going to give different perspectives. So I'll let you do a little intro with yourself so people get an idea who you are if they haven't watched your amazing YouTube videos. Now, here's a start.
Cluster B Milkshake here. Somebody asked about my puppet, and when I was on Facebook and I would talk, like make joke videos and stuff, anytime I would lie about, my life being perfect and shit like that, my puppet would talk mad shit and call me a liar. So I had, my puppet here to remind me not to be a liar and to tell the truth. And the reason why I started my channel was because, being somebody on the Cluster B spectrum with narcissism and borderline personality disorder. I also have traits of histrionic and psychopathy. Um, I would visit victim groups, and in the victim groups, so many people with long-term partners were saying how he never loved me, she never loved me. And that's fucking bullshit, because I gave a shit about my partners and I was so tired of it. My recent ex said, you never loved me. That's a fucking lie. That's a lie. And I wanted to start this channel to say what my inner thought process was, because all over YouTube, it's just talking mad shit about me. You don't know me. So I wanted to do a thing. Actually, I wanted Lee from Mental Healness to do a thing. And he told me, you go do it. You go do the thing. So my chicken shit ass made 4 videos and he supported me. So now I'm here. And then you found me, Keith. You found me. So now I'm here.
Yes.
Is that good?
The different platforms have different people. So, you know, I'm not a TV person for the most part. I love YouTube because I love to learn. So, you know, some people will be on there for that. And then some people will be on TikTok for just pure entertainment. And then some people will be on Instagram for just, you know, memes and sharing things. And now you have the opportunity to put video on there. So, you know, all the platforms are really connecting with each other for the most part. So this might be for some people the first time to ever hear anything from you or about you that they never would have, because they don't go on YouTube. And this is okay. But this helps, you know, complete the circle and help connect everybody. This is a good type of triangulation, if you want to say.
Well, yeah, I used TikTok to bait people, to get them over to my YouTube, because my YouTube goes into great detail where 3 minutes isn't going to do a damn thing, you know. So I try to make it, you know, just quick and fast. And the only reason why I have an Instagram is so people can message me, you know. I mean, I have a email too, but I mean, you get insta message on Instagram. So that's why I started Instagram. Otherwise, I would not have it.
Yeah.
YouTube is my favorite. So, and I try to, what do you call it? Comment on everyone, answer everybody's questions, you know?
Yeah, that's one. So I noticed on YouTube, anything that anybody leaves, you kind of like, you know, acknowledge them some way, shape, or form. You know,
Yes.
So they have a question in the video. It's good because you'll either answer it if it wasn't answered there, or it might give you something to think about for the future. That's helping you, but helping them too. Because another thing is, I was just talking to somebody earlier where it's like, if somebody talks, like if you read the DSM or any of this stuff, it's like it's giving a perspective from somebody that can't see from that perspective. You understand, right? So it's like, you know, you could tell, it's like eating chocolate, right? I could describe what it's like, but if you're eating chocolate, you know how it feels. If I just describe off of my memory or what I think it tastes like, it's not the same thing at all. So, you know, this is helping you heal, but it's helping other people understand from your perspective, because you can't put your feet in anybody else's shoes if you don't know what those shoes are like. You know, it's just not possible.
Well, that's the whole, isn't that the empathy issue?
What's that?
Isn't that the empathy issue?
No, and the empathy issue is different, where you could put yourself in the person's shoes, but you don't have a full understanding of their perspective because it's almost impossible.
How's that impossible?
How?
Explain.
Yeah, so the empathy thing is, if you're hurting and you're reacting to me I might say, okay, what did I do wrong? But it's like, I don't want you to feel that way. So how could I help you feel better? Which is not always the case. Because if I didn't do anything wrong and it's just reactive on your part, how could I fix that? You just can't.
So are you saying that you want to fix people's pain?
No, it's understanding people's pain. You can't fix anything outside of yourself. And the thing is with society now, everybody's like, what movement are you in? Oh, we're gonna stop this, we're gonna stop that, we're gonna change the world. That's so narcissistic. It's like you have to change yourself. You have to look at how you look at things, how you respond to things, how you react to things. And then once you could change yourself, you could change the world around you, not in a way that you want to create it, but at least understand it where you can have less of an effect on how it affects you, your mind, your health, and everything else. A lot of people will say, okay, what's wrong with you? What do you have? Oh, I'll change this. I'll teach you mindfulness. I'll teach you how to change your behavior. It's like, who are you to impose on their life? You have to want it for yourself. Just like a drug addict, you could do drugs all your life, and that's fine. You know, it hurts other people, but until you say, oh, I've had enough and I want to get sober, nothing will ever change. I'll just give a good example of my family. You know, my mom and my grandma used to go NA meetings, right? Narcotics Anonymous. And if you go to the meeting so long and you're sober for so long, you get a new keychain to be like, oh, look at me. I have a red keychain. I've been clean for 30 days. I'm so happy. And then all of a sudden you go to NA meetings and now it's 60 days. You get a green keychain. I don't know the colors really, but it's like, look, I have a green keychain. I'm so happy. And then, like, I remember once they came home with a white keychain and it, you know, says NA with the circle. And they're like, oh, we've been clean for 90 days. I'm like, how did you get that? They're like, well, we've been clean for 90 days. We went, I go, you're high right now. You're high right now. It's like your eyes, everything. I could tell all that stuff because I grew up around it. It's like, who are you fooling? So it's like they're doing that to look good to me and some other people, but they're lying to themselves. So until they wanted it, it was not going to change. It didn't matter how much we wanted it. It had to be up to them. So the same thing as me projecting onto you how you should be and how you should and shouldn't act or react is very narcissistic in a way where I'm trying to control you. It's like, on the other hand, for me, it's like when you share what you do, I have a better understanding of it. So it's not about controlling, it's about letting go, but understanding in a way where either you could support the person or let them go in a way that is going to be beneficial for you, where it's going to help you let go in a way where you could be healthy and start to learn what your patterns are, your conditioning is. Until you do that, nothing will change. You're never going to find the Prince Charming and all this other shit that the movies have taught us, right? So this comes to earlier talking about what tonight would kind of be about unrealistic as it standards for relationships, right? So if you told me, say we went on a date and you go, oh, I have borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality, and you go, oh my God, so awesome. I'm going to fix that.
I would never tell you that.
Run.
Yeah. Actually, you would be trying to look for some borderline shit because you've been fucked over so much by somebody. You would be looking for borderline traits in me, even if I did not have them. I bet you.
No. I fixed that. I would be totally honest with everything today. In the past, I would think, oh, she has this wrong with her. She's insanely jealous. She doesn't trust anybody. But she won't be jealous with me because I'll never make her feel that way. She'll trust me because there's nothing. So in the past, I used to do that. Now I'm just like, what did you just say? And then you see smoke like the Roadrunner, just me flying away. You know, if I could pick it up. Some people are very covert. You know, but in the past, that was me. I was like, oh, you're a wounded bird. I'll heal your wings. You'll fly again. Don't worry, I'll help you.
Yes.
I don't do that anymore. So, you know, you could see I did answer the question. 100%.
Yeah.
True.
Well, when first meeting someone, no, I would never say there's anything fucking wrong with me. No way. You want, you know, people gonna run. You have to show the the red flags nice and slow. When you show them slow, they're not going to go. They're going to question themselves. Is that a red flag or not? You're going to explain it away because I'm fun. You're going to explain it away because you want to fuck. You're going to explain it away. So, and it's not that I feel like I'm this demon that I'm trying to, trap you. I just know that there was something wrong with me. I know that I wasn't a fully healed human being of, love and light and shit. So I'm gonna, kind of keep anything dark under wraps, and then slowly you will see it come out or not, but, right away. But it's different with every relationship because I'm a chameleon. So when when I touch you and I'm forming into what you are, oh, you're spiritual? Me too, bro. Me too. Yes. I have read the shit. I have, meditated. I like incense, baby.
Oh my God, me too. You're my flame. You're my soulmate, right? And that's why those terms are so dangerous, because it's been created by the movies and TV. So this is what people think is natural and healthy, normal, because they go, well, I met this person. They're nice. They don't like sushi. I like sushi. Oh, they don't like these type of movies. Oh, it's not going to work out. I have to meet everybody that meets this checklist of unrealistic standards, and that will be the one. And
Yes.
that will be the one to murder you.
Well, there's certain criteria that you should meet in a relationship, like you being once a Marine, always a Marine. If somebody was against the military, you wouldn't be like, oh, we'll just let that shit go. No, because that is part of, the puzzle that is you. That is a piece of your puzzle, and someone who's going to shit on you. With my ex-husband, I went through a small period where I was shitting on him. I was making his life hell, but I respected him because he was like, I don't give a fuck what you think. He was like, I'm not even gonna be gentle. He's like, he would just get really fucking rude and be like, carpet bomb the whole fucking, desert and shit, and he didn't care. And I was just like, that was, I respected that because he was not going to let me change his mind, like I hate his favorite band. And the only thing that he would do that was nice is when we were in the car and AC/DC came on, he would change the channel. And, that was nice. But did he not stop buying the fucking t-shirts and wearing the shit around? Did he stop blasting the fucking music in the shower when he's taking a shower or scream lyrics and stuff? No, he didn't stop. He was still him, And even though I fucking hated it, I respected that there were certain things about him that he was not going to change for me, to make me comfortable. He was like, too fucking bad, So, yeah.
And
so
did that make you feel like that part itself?
Well, in the beginning, he's a huge Raiders fan, disgusting Raiders fan, huge. And I didn't fake that I liked the Raiders, but I did fake my disgust. I kept that down. Not for the Raiders in general, just football. I've never, I didn't grow up for football. I don't understand shit. And this was like his whole life. And so I would go to football parties with him every Sunday while he got fucked up drunk because I wanted to be around him. And I didn't say anything. But later on down the road, you know, I was like, fuck your parties, fuck you. No, I'm not. Bleh. But he was very nice. When we were married, we would, when the football games were on, eventually he would go into the other room and watch his game, because we had two big screens, you know. But the one in the living room was bigger, and I would sit out there and read and shit, and I'm just like, you can have this room. I will go in the bedroom. But he was always so overly giving that he was like, no, you stay there and I'll go in there. And I don't know if he has any resentments or knowing that he's doing this, because I was like, no, stay in the living room. You know, I kind of think that people also, they get so used to bending over backwards for your narcissistic person or cluster B-ish person that they are always, that they're giving up more and more and more when you don't fucking ask for it. You know, that's what I think. He would always go to the store because he know I didn't like to go to the store. But even when I said I'll go to the store, he's like, no, I'll go. So does he fucking think that I made him? Or was he doing that because he wanted me to be comfortable so much? You know, I don't fuck.
Yeah, it's a combination of things, right? And it depends too, because like you said, you let him, you know, you said, oh, watch it here. I'll go in the room. My ex wouldn't have not done that. So this is funny because it's like everybody goes, oh, if you have this spectrum, this is how you act. You fit right here, and this person's the same. They fit here, and they fit here. It doesn't work like that at all. So even like the going to the store thing, right? So if my ex said, oh, can you go to the store? It's either because she knows I'm tired and I don't want to almost like make me do something I don't want to do to get like a thrill out of it to punish me. Or on the other hand, it's like, oh, I want to go to the store. And it's like, no, I'll go for you. Because it's like, I know you're tired. And if I'm not aware of you being tired and trying to help you, I'm going to get mauled later for it. So it's like, you know, if anything, it's like, oh, and the next time you go to the store for me, like, oh, see, I go to the store for you. You don't do shit for me. Remember that day I was fucking tired? And you're like, you're a big king shit watching your game. I don't watch sports. You know, and it's like, I had to go to the fucking store for you to get your milk in the morning while it's freezing outside. And it's like, you know, so sometimes you start to think of those scenarios where like, oh, I'll go. You know, it's like, has nothing to do with caring more or less. It's just like, I don't want to drop landmines in my house that I know only I could step on, right?
Yeah, I did not do that. One thing that I did do, because he was, his work is really close to the big liquor store. So after work, or he was about to get off work and I was out of booze, you know, I'd text him to pick me up booze. So that's going, it's still stopping. He's worked all day. So I did take advantage of that, you know, when I could have went out any time during the day, but I did not. And I would text him to fucking go to the booze store, you know, right there. So I did take advantage of, you know, that. He knows
And
that.
also, like with just the sports and the music in general, in the beginning, you had to pretend that you thought it was awesome, right? To wheel him in, or you didn't do that 100%. Because I have 3 versions from my life that are totally different, you know? So, you know, did you do that in the beginning to mirror the person and to charm them? Or did you say, well, I like rock and roll, but not that band. That band sucks. I mean, like, how were you in the initial stage?
Well, with the music, I gave no fucks. I say I don't like that shit, you know. But I mean, it's just a fucking band. But with the Raiders, and he's got the tattoo and all of his fucking clothes, and his house is all Raiders and shit, you know. So I was just you know, I just watched the shit and fucking drink with him and I was happy when they won, because when they did not win, motherfucker was miserable. He was pissed off, and then he would be angry until next week. So I would hope that they would win. I basically was, because my ex-husband has very strong narcissistic traits. And
I wanted to say real quick is that most people who are tuning in now
Mm.
don't know your husband at all. So is he considered a healthy person, or do you see these traits, which I know you just said, but some people don't realize where some things that he's done and the way he acts is not the way that I would have acted at all. So,
Mhm.
what you said when he was able to just let things slide and stuff, because he seems to have some narcissistic traits also.
Yes, he had very strong narcissistic traits when we first got together. And then over the years, the dynamic shifted.
And what were the strong ones in the beginning that you noticed?
With me,
No, with him.
with him, he was very narcissistic. Very. He wanted, he moved me in
Oh,
within 2 months. I was living with him 2 months, moved me in. He wanted, me to do all the housewifey shit and everything. And he would stay up all night, not all night, but he would stay up late while I was putting Joseph, to bed and doing all that stuff. He, what do you call it, would stay up playing video games, or he would go out to the bar, and then, so he acted like he was still a bachelor. It's like, well, then why the fuck am I here, man? Why'd you move me in? And the reason why he moved me in, because he wanted a fucking mommy to take care of him and cook and clean and fuck, and, and then he can go and do whatever the fuck he wanted. And so I was very codependent on him. And after a little while, several months, I moved out and I went and lived with my mother, me and Joseph. And I read Codependency No More. And after less than a month, we were broken up. And I'm like, all right, let's try again with my new skills. And, I had stronger boundaries because of it. And I let him decide. I said, I'm not living with you ever again. I said, I'll date you for the rest of my life, but I'm not going to live with you. And so I only started seeing him on the weekends, and we would just call each other on the phone. This is before cell phones. So we'd call each other on the phone at night, stay on the phone less than fucking a half an hour, and that's it. And that's all I gave. And then it was like, I'll see you on the weekend. And so he had to do whatever the fuck that he wanted to do during the week without me. I didn't give a shit. I didn't question nothing. I gave no fucks. But the weekend was mine. And that was the deal. And slowly he wanted me to, come back Friday night. He wanted to watch Joseph on Thursdays or on Fridays, because he worked Monday through Thursday. And he's like, well, let me watch Joseph on Friday, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's like wheeling you back in slowly, right?
Yes, but he was wheeling himself back, well, and me, yes. But I mean, the boundaries became, they were healthier,
Mm-hmm.
time went on.
So
But
also, what was the thing that you said first? Can't remember. But in the very beginning, it's like so far, like you've been more of yourself. It's like saying things that you do or don't like. So you're not like, faking everything, which, that's.
I did in the beginning. And then after I left and then did the whole, read about codependency and stuff, and I was starting my new skills and shit like that. Because I'm a self-help. I buy books. If there's something wrong, I'm going to buy a book and I'm going to try to fix it, But I've always, I was working, and that's, I get my positive feed from, working and people, and everybody loves me, That's the thing, is I don't want negative supply. I want positive, 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 That's what I like. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to see. Um, when you have kids, your focus is on the children. Then it's not just on you and needing to feed, the monster that's inside of you all the time. Your focus is shifted. So my shift was to my kid. My shift was having the perfect family. My shift was, getting the husband, but I was learning the skills to slowly get the husband. I wasn't being super toxic,
But even
That's
that,
slow, dude. I fucking got toxic later. I got toxic later. We
but even
know.
that image itself, right? Of like, oh, I have the husband and the kids, we have this home. It's like, you know, everybody outside the home sees this perfect fantasy life, but inside there's landmines and stuff, because it's like it can't be like that. And it's funny because I used the analogy from was it Meet the Parents, when Robert De Niro tells Ben Stiller, he's like, once you get into the circle of trust, you're in. So, but people got to realize, like, I'll use this usually, like, just show, because this is what happened with my ex-wife. This is over 20 years ago for people that don't know. So, the circle of trust is in here. This is where all the ugly shit flows freely, effortlessly. Outside of this is the facade that you create for other people to see, where everything's beautiful and perfect. So only a select few get to see the ugly shit, and that's usually your loved ones, so, and you can't help it because you can only act for so long. It's easy to do at work, you could say, but at home, you just want to relax, where whatever's you're feeling, you're just going to let it come out. It's almost like somebody has a stomachache and they fart by accident. It's just like, you got to let it out. So the same thing happens at home, and it seems to me, and like my mom's favorite saying was, I hurt those the most that I love. So it's just like, and even my ex-wife, it's like she treated me very differently from everybody. And then when I wasn't her husband anymore, I was on the outside of that circle where I'm like, oh, this is the sweet angel that everybody knows.
Well, during my first marriage, I got off drugs with my first husband. And I thought two broken people could make a whole. And he led me to believe that that was true. And this is where the fantasy comes in, we're going to make the shit work because we understand each other. We both had toxic upbringings. I thought this thing for a very long time, that my perfect partner is broken like me. That is my perfect partner, because we will understand each other. You're broken, I'm broken. Doesn't work that way,
I think too, because of growing up in a major dysfunctional family, where it's like, I meet somebody, it's like, oh, you're broken, I'll help you heal. And then we'll walk down the golden brick road together, into the sunlight, into the sunset. And it's, it's just something that we make up in our heads. And then after time, we realize, holy shit, this is not going in that direction, And then
I wasn't trauma bonded to my first husband or second husband. Somebody asked about trauma.
Yeah.
I was not. I gave no fucks. When they did not do what I wanted, when my first husband, when he started to fail me, I immediately went and looked for another man. Immediately. When he was not giving me what I wanted, when he was not going to work when he was supposed to work, when he was stealing money out of our bank, right then I'm like, I'm getting a new man. And I went and looked for one while I was still with him. See, this is the thing. You know, how people are like, they just left. They just left and went to somebody else. No, we leave a long time ago. We leave way before we leave. We leave mentally before we leave physically. And I'm not saying that, you know, the people, the men and women out there who are good to their, you know, husbands and wives. But when you start seeing our ugly traits and shit, and the light goes out in your eyes when you look at us and all you do is see shit, and all we're doing is punishing you all the fucking time and then fighting and stuff, we're gonna go and find somebody who only sees the light in us, who only sees the shit that we want to see in your eyes. That's why we leave. We gone. We're gone. We're gonna go look for something else.
And those are the people on the outside of the circle, right?
Yes, but we're gonna bring you in and fuck you up. So people just don't, you know, when people are like, they're gonna be better for the next person. No, fucker, we're not gonna be better for the next person. We're gonna fucking, you know, be the best everything in the beginning, and then our defense mechanisms are gonna come out again. You know, they're gonna keep cycling because we're not healing. We're not healed. We're not trying. We're not watching. We're not mindful. We're not fucking nothing. We're going to blame you. We're going to blame you for another fucked up relationship. I'm not the problem, Keith. It's you. You're the problem.
Right? Oh, always, you know. And the thing is,
your love ain't going to fix it. Your love ain't fixing shit, brother.
you know, no, it's funny. It's like people think, oh, you know, if you love the person unconditionally, it's like your heart will connect with their heart and their consciousness and stuff like that. And it's fun because I know somebody who's very famous in India who passed away a few years ago, and she was going for her second heart transplant. So she already had one, and it gave her about 10 or 11 years of life. So she actually has been living with somebody else's heart, but it hasn't changed her. Because it's actually somebody else's physical other heart. So if you think about that idea, it's like, oh, now that heart's in me, you should become a different person. You know, it's like feelings is one thing, but like when you say you don't give a fuck, so it's like once your mind has changed towards that person, your feelings and your heart changes towards them too, and there's no coming back. So somebody can't love the madness out of you, right? Did you hear that? I'm not paying attention to any of this shit. See, the thing is, too, it's like if you have spammers and bullshit artists texting stuff to get a rise out of you, they have no life. It's pretty sad. You're targeting you right now because they don't have a life. So it's like, well, I need some attention. So I'm going to mess with you even though I'm 15 years old and you don't know who I am. It's like, you're a total coward to do shit like that. Go somewhere else, you know? Go discover your pecker and go pleasure yourself, you know? But it's amazing how people think they can love you to health or whatever it may be. And it's just like, and that's one thing from my ex. It's like the more I tried to help her feel better or whatever it is, the more resentful she got because she's like, who the fuck are you? I'm not asking you for help. I just want to express myself, and you just got to sit there and take it. Well, your reaction is your problem. And if you feel really shitty after I beat up on you, that's not bad. I feel good because now you get an idea of what my darkness feels like, my emptiness feels like.
So would they attack you and you had to sit there and take it? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, it's not whether it's sitting there and taking it or not. It's like when they could get a reaction out of you, then it's like, oh, that feels good because now you feel like shit. You're upset. You're miserable. You're reacting in anger and screaming. And it's like, now you know how I feel. Because that was the reaction most of the time. It's like, but even though you just lost your shit and you're angry and agitated and everything, you still will never have a clue how I feel deep inside. So it still wasn't good enough, you know? And some people, you know, you talk about gray rocking and all that stuff. I know we're going through different subjects, but who gives a shit? But it's like you know, gray rocking and stuff. Somebody's like, well, if you stand there and pretend you have no emotions, this will not feed into them and they'll stop. Oh, no fucking way, because they know it's an act. You know, it might help you, but with my ex, she knew that was an act if I did that. So it's kind of like the kid with it. You're on the phone. Whenever you're doing something and you have a little one, they want your attention really badly, right? So what do? It's like, mommy, mommy, mommy. It's like, hold on, sweetie, I'm on the phone. Mommy, 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 relax. And then finally go, what do you want? Right? And then it's just like, I got the reaction. So glorious. And even though that happens, you know, because it doesn't matter how much I tried. Once I did that, it's like, she's like, oh, good. Finally, you feel a little bit what I feel, but you still don't have a clue. So, you know, trying to pretend to be something else. I can understand if you're not in a relationship and it's like parental sharing, you know, your kids, where it's like, oh, what are you doing today? Picking up the kids. You know, that's gray rocking, right? And one word answers. But being in a relationship, you can't do that. That's not normal. You know, and it's not healthy because now you're suppressing who you are, and that's toxic also. So it's like you can't win for what you do.
Yes. I've done so many videos. I don't remember if I did one on that. I was watching this woman and she was talking about, oh, I think I did. And she was talking about how you have to hide your interests from your fucking person. Like you can't share, you know, your goals. You can't share your goals with your partner who has the personality disorder. And I'm like, what kind of leave then? Because if you are sharing your goals with your partner and they're tearing your goals down, you need to go. And this is something that my recent ex did to me. And that was just the catalyst to getting the fuck out. Because I said, I'm gonna start a blog or something. You know, that was my first thing. I was like, I'm gonna start a blog. I said, because I feel so isolated because him and I took away each other's Facebook friends because of our mutual jealousy. If he got mad because of a guy saying something about me, and I'm like, then you get rid of that whore. You get rid of that whore who fucking heart reacted your shit then. You're going to get rid of this dude? You get rid of her. And we went and fucking just killed our whole friends list by doing that, going back and forth until we had almost nobody left. And he's like, I'm just not going to be on Facebook anymore, you know? And I'm just like, and he know, where the fuck am I supposed to get my positive supply from? He's taken away everything. So now I'm going into despair. I have nobody, nothing. And here I am saying, well, I'm going to make a blog because I need some fucking attention, fucker. Not to fuck around on you, but I need the light. And he's like, no, you got to live in the dark and, you know, all this bullshit. And I'm just like, but not to be a hypocrite. I wanted him to fail at his goals. He wanted to be this famous artist and shit, and I wanted him to fucking fail because I knew that once he sucked all the resources out of me, that he was going to take off. And then just go and fucking find somebody else. And then, you know, I would have to destroy him and go to prison forever. Because I would. That's one thing. I would destroy my whole life to burn that fucker to the ground if he did that to me. Disrespect is huge for me. That is one thing that triggers the fuck out of me. And using me? Mm-mm.
See, that's like somebody just said something here. I'm not going to read it, but I understand what they said. So the difference is like what you just said is very borderline because it just is because I lived through it, you know? So it's like, but, you know, it's like I remember with my ex-wife, I remember I was training for a competition, you know, a mixed arts competition to fight. and I was training for months, and this was like my dream come true. So what happened the weekend before the fight? She created such a shitstorm where the MPs, the military police came and everything, and they wanted to keep me bound to the barracks. So now I can't fight, and my dream can't come true. But luckily I got to do it, but I didn't care. So I didn't care if I won or lost because I had no drive because I didn't give a shit about anything, so yeah. But
Want dreams because to come true because she did not think that she was good enough to keep you. She knew this, that you were awesome and you were going to go off and be fucking awesome without her.
Yeah.
It's all about fucking fear.
And another thing too, the abandonment thing. I remember with my ex that I was with for the longest. She has borderline personality disorder, nothing else. But things do shift. They do shift. That's why it's called the cluster B. It's like you take little components according to what's good for you. It's like cooking. It's like, this needs a little more salt. I'll take this trait for now. And this is what people need to really understand. So what happened with her, here goes my ADHD. I'm going so fast. And then coming back. Okay, so the UFC, which is the Ultimate Fighting Championships, they have a show which is called The Ultimate Fighter, and a lot of my friends been on that show, and I'm like, I could easily get on that show because some friends that are on there I annihilate, and they're doing really good. So I remember telling her that I want to try it, and she's like, "What is that going to do for me? You're going to be gone for 6 weeks, and what is that going to do for me? And then you're going to leave me and this and that." And I'm like, "No, I just want to get a chance fighting and showing my skills. This has been my whole life, my whole dream." So I didn't do it because I didn't want the drama. So for the rest of my life, I'm like, damn, I could have done that. Same thing happened when I went into the fire department. She didn't want me to, she tried to do everything she can to drive me crazy during the academy so I could quit. Because it's like, well, if you become a fireman, you're going to be successful and you're going to leave me and my family. Because her son I met when he was 8 years old. He's going to be 22 in a week. He's my adopted son. I love him more than anything. He's my soul son. That's what I say. It doesn't have to be a DNA for somebody to be just like you in so many ways. And she was like, she didn't want me to be successful with the fire department because it's like, now I have a stable job. People will like me. People will respect me. I'm going to leave you now for somebody better. And there was nobody better. Personality-wise, yeah, the shitstorm was not fun. But she was the most beautiful woman in the world to me, and I loved her son beyond belief. And for the first time, I'm with somebody that I love her family, and they love me. So it's like, to lose everything was not easy, but she was trying to convince me to give up and quit because of the fear of abandonment, which is a major thing with borderline. It's like you push the person away because you want to leave them first, and then when they're about to leave, you pull them back because you don't want them to abandon you, and this becomes a normal.
The fear, hold on.
These notes?
Yes.
Notes?
I take fuck tons of notes, sir. Yes. See, both narcissism and borderlines have abandonment.
Yes.
The whole thing, they both have abandonment issues. The whole thing is fear of abandonment. And then if I feel abandoned, the NPD side, I'm going to leave you. So, this is why I left my ex. I wanted him to fail at his goals. I thought that he would leave me, so I left him. That's narcissism. The borderline thing is staying with you and fucking up your life.
Yeah, it's self-sabotaging.
Yes. So I wasn't going to let him play out that, self-fulfilled prophecy of, my abandonment. I wasn't going to let that happen. I'm leaving. I'm out. I'm not. No.
Yeah.
That is the difference. Okay. That's the difference. Here's a good example. Now, I've never told you this. But when you first became my friend, and remember how, you know, you were doing all the fucking narcissistic traits on me, and my first knee-jerk reaction was to get the fuck away from you. Yes, I was gonna block your ass and just fucking get away from you for life because of, you know, this trigger in me. And for the first fucking time, I told you how I felt. I told you how I felt. And then you explained, you know, how you are. And you explained different things. And I let it play out, you know, and instead of throwing away a whole fucking friendship, you know, that was fucking a first for me, because I don't fucking do that, you
That
know?
was to me too. Because the way you reacted, I was like, oh no. I go, I'm not doing that, but I could understand it's projection and you can't help it. You know, it's projection. It's like thinking of what you've done or what you've experienced in the past, which is more transference from other people. But it's like,
Yes.
you know, and I understood that. So I was like, well, I'm not doing that. So let me back off and give her space, and whatever her reaction is fine, because I'm not trying to control anything, but I will express myself so I don't leave any stones unturned, where it gives you a possibility of creating your own story. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes. And you did. You did. And then I felt fucking comfortable, you know? And then I came back, right? So it's like the animal that you scare away, and then you give a little bit of food, and then they learn to come back to you. They learn
And then,
to come.
oh, dead, dead, dead. You know, yeah. But it's funny because everybody puts everybody, like my ex that I was with for 10 years, because that's, I'll just relate to her. It's like if she was feeling shitty, she would always, she had the combinations to always push my red button like nobody. If I'm Bruce Banner and to turn into the Hulk, if I was in, you know, the Avengers and I need somebody to change me quickly, she would be the person on my back, because she would change me into that for sure. And I remember going on vacation with her, and I was abused so long before we even went on a vacation because I couldn't afford it. So the way that I figured out, I'm like, okay, because she would throw it in my face. Oh, my friend's been dating this guy for 2 months. He went on vacation. It's like I can't afford it. You know, it's like I just couldn't because of my family dynamics and their drug habits, where I was working to keep us alive, and none of that money was for me to have fun with. You know what I mean? It was like me throwing money in the garbage, pretty much, or in a paper shredder, even better, because it just was useless. But I finally figured out a way for us to go on vacation, and it was after like 3 years where I'm like, all right, I'm new in the fire department. I make shit money. But if we go on vacation from this date to this date, once I actually hit zero in my bank account, that Friday night before I'll get my paycheck. This is actually, I had everything in such detail and craziness for it to work. And then once we got there, where was our first vacation? Hawaii. Who goes on their first vacation? Usually, unless it's, you know, getting married and stuff and the newlywed. So it's like, well, if I'm going to do a first vacation, and after a while, let me do the best thing that I could possibly think of. And she was miserable the whole vacation, you know, making me crazy because, you know, it's just like, it's just part of it. And I couldn't understand it. And I remember like one thing that she did on purpose, which was very slick. We went out to eat, right? And, you know, we were on a budget too. So this was a night going to a nice restaurant. So I'm very simple. I'll order the same two things forever and be perfectly happy as long as it's made right. I don't have to have a big variety. I know what I like and I stay with that. That's my ADHD, where it's hyper focused, where my food's the same way. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I could eat the same thing for almost ever and be okay. So I ordered something in dinner. It was probably like a penne alla vodka with chicken or something. And she ordered some like seafood shit that I would never eat in a million years. And neither would she. So she gets the dish, she takes a bite, she goes, "Ugh, I don't like this." And I'm like, "Fuck, this is expensive." It's like, I'm not gonna eat it. She's like, "But I like yours."
Oh my fucking God.
So me being the shithead that I am and wanting to keep things easy and moving and happy, I just went pushed my plate forward, took hers, and being in the military and being a kid that grew up with no food, I'll eat anything as long as it's not cow brains or anything, and I'll just eat it because I don't want to waste food. And she's eating it, loving it, enjoying it, knowing that I hate exactly what I'm eating, and she hated it too, but she got it to make me miserable. And it's just like, damn you, if I would have known back then what I know now, I would have been like, you order it, you fucking eat it. If you don't want to eat it, you bring it back. I don't give a shit what you do. I have that mentality now, but back then I was just like, we're on vacation. I want you to have fun. I'm sorry you ordered something that sucked. It didn't suck. It's just she hates what she ordered. It's like me ordering chocolate ice cream when I hate chocolate ice cream. Of course I'm not going to eat it. And it's like, why are you ordering that? You don't like it. But you did it on purpose because she knows, because I was so predictable with certain things where I would trade it with her, and then she would enjoy my dinner.
Or she just knew if she didn't like it that you would give up your food.
Oh, she knew 100%.
When I go on vacation, because I don't like going out, I don't like all those fucking strangers and shit. I always feel like there's a spotlight on me no matter where I go. And I'm already fake fuck 100% of the time. So I have to be fake with this crowd, And I just keep all of that anxiety inside of me, and I just fake the most fun, happy person, and I am dying the whole time inside. But that's one thing that I did not do is push that on my husband. We would go and he would be getting drunk and I'm just fucking disgusted with him, but I'm not gonna say anything, I'm just gonna be like, I can't wait till this fucking trip is over, But I mean, we had some really fun time, too. It wasn't, I was not looking at everything is miserable. I mean, because I read the self-help shit. I'm still like, I'm gonna manifest something good. Something good's gonna happen, I locked the keys in the fucking car when we were in Hawaii. I left the keys in the car, and we were supposed to go to this magic show, this comedy magic show. And I'm freaking out because how the fuck are we going to get there? I paid for these expensive tickets. I call the fucking magic show, and I'm just like, we're going to be late. We're going to be late. The tickets are locked in the car. Do you have our fucking information and shit? And they were like cool and stuff. And so we go there, and we got front row seats, because I locked the keys in the car, and my whole fucking, I was freaking out and, tragedy and stuff, and they made it all fucking good and better, I was like, let's manifest some good shit, So yes, I'm not a complete fucking monster. I still want to manifest, good shit for, myself.
You would notice stuff and read about it trying to make things better. Mine did the opposite. If I put a book in front of her face, oh, read this one, she'd flip it on me. It's like, if Jesus talked about anything bad, he's talking about Keith. So it was like totally flipped. But then, like, it's funny, I had the opposite happen with my borderline sweetie, right? So her dream for her birthday was like, I don't want anything, gifts or anything. I just want an experience with you, and my other love is my son. So if you could create that, that would be like the ultimate thing for life. So I go, okay, no problem.
She didn't say what she wanted. She's making you fucking think up something.
Well, if we could do something like a family outing, just us three, that would be meaningful and special. So I go, oh, good, I got an idea. We'll go to the Lion King on Broadway. Well, it's kind of off Broadway. So I went, and the tickets were too expensive, and most of them were sold out unless the shit seats, which I'm not taking, 6-year-old to nosebleeder seats. It's like, that's not going to be good. And I don't know how big that theater is because I didn't work in that one. So it was sold out anyway for the most part. So I'm like, well, what's the next best thing that's beautiful and spectacular? I'm like, Beauty and the Beast on Broadway. I'm like, okay. So I go to her before I buy it. I go, remember, your birthday falls 99% of the time on Father's Day. So if I get us to do something, you know, you and your son will be able to come, right? Yeah, no problem. Because, you know, his father was not somebody I would recommend in any positive light. So it's like, if he misses Father's Day with him, this one will be okay. No problem. So, okay, I get the tickets. You know, they're like over $100 each. I didn't have money back then at all. So it was tough being in the fire department in the beginning. You're making like $30,000 a year in New York City. That's why most people don't live in New York City. They live outside the five boroughs because they can't afford it. So I get the tickets. Credit cards help, right? So I get the tickets. And I'm like, okay, we're going somewhere on Broadway. I'm not going to tell you what show because it's a surprise for your birthday. So the day comes. Hey, you know, will I pick you up this time? Pick me up what time? Well, remember we have plans? Well, you know, my son's not here. Where the fuck is he? It's Father's Day. Yeah, but you knew this. Well, I'm not going to take him away from his biological father. I go, I'm not saying to do that, but this was planned. Well, you should have planned better. Boop, that's number one. Number two, oh my God, I can't get into my ATM. They shut down my bank account because I wasn't paying student loans. I go, you don't need money. I'm paying for everything. Oh, it's always about you. All you give a fuck is about yourself. Oh,
That's projection.
you know, yeah. So what happened that day? No Beauty and the Beast. You know, but you know, the whole borderline thing, people are like, well, that makes no sense. Oh, it makes complete sense in her eyes, but on my end, it really sucked, you know. And it's just like the sabotage. It doesn't matter what that, like, the point of the matter is, I was supposedly fulfilling a fantasy for me, her, and her son to go do something that's memorable and beautiful and thoughtful. That didn't happen. And who was the bad guy? Me. I'm a selfish fuck because of it, you know?
I'll tell you this. I have in the moment wanted to go do things. I have told my husband, you know, like, let's go on trips and shit and let's whatever. But the next day I don't want to, you know? It's my feelings shift so much that you can't believe a fucking thing that I say when I say I want to go and do something. Like, my sister would want to go to dinner and she would have to make reservations and stuff. And I would put it on the calendar, you know, and be like, okay, I have to go. You know, I can't fucking say no, you know? And I'll just do the thing. Everything to me was a fucking chore because I would rather just fucking rot away on the couch. Just rot. You know, I'd rather not do a fucking thing. I'm just, my inner black fucking aura just oozes out all over me and I just don't want to fucking do shit, you know? And I have to gather it up and stuff it down to just fucking go out and do stuff, you know? I never wanted to go out to dinner with my husband. I'm like, I see you every day. Why do I need to go out? Why do we need to spend money and go out? You know, why? I didn't care about it being special. I didn't care about any of that shit. If he wanted to go out food, I'm like, go get it and bring it home. Why do I have to sit in front of you? Why do I have to sit fucking in front of you and pay for a fucking $10 drink when a whole bottle of booze is fucking, you know, $15? You know?
Mm-hmm.
I was justifying. Everything was justified. Everything. And it was always selfish. I didn't give a fuck about his feelings. I did not care what he wanted. He wanted to spend special time with me. I did not want to. And fuck your feelings. Fuck your feelings. Me.
Yeah, see, people think the opposite. They go, well, wait a second, I don't understand that. If you love the person and they're trying to do something good for you, why can't you care about their feelings? I don't understand that. You
No,
know?
I get it now.
No, but the thing is, it's like, you know, I'm coming like from your perspective in a way. It's like, I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel. This is how I feel, and this is what's important to me. And the thing is, when somebody isn't not able to understand that, their suffering will continue because they're trying to create a reality that doesn't exist within your mind that will fit their narrative and their perspective. And that leads to a world of hurt and a world of shit that never ends, because it's like, well, I know you said that and you feel that, but I know from my perspective, I could change that, and that's not how I feel. So you can't feel that way. And it's just like, this is where the trauma bonding comes in for a lot of people, you know, in general, where they're like, well, you treated me this way in the beginning, but now you're not. But even though you're treating me like this because this is how you feel in the moment, that's not how you really feel, because you can't feel that way. And this is where the breadcrumbing and the, you know, all that other stuff comes into play. And this is how people make up perpetual excuses to be in a relationship that's not going to change for the better, because they can't, but they have this false hope. Hope is a good thing. I write about that in my book, but it's realistic hope. Like, if you love somebody that's passing, you don't love them and have hope for them that they'll make it through. You just hope that you'll be there for them as they need you during that time of need. You know, when people think, oh, I have this hope where we'll change, that's your own fantasy, that's your own delusion. And that's pretty much digging a deeper hole for your suffering. You know, it's like, if you trip over a little pothole, you get up, but if you fall into something deeper, it's a little more effort to get up. But now you go into something so deep, you're jumping and you can't hit the edge to climb out of. Who did that at a certain point? This is where responsibility is important. And that's why, like, even with the book, A Warrior in the World, it's like the responsibility of yourself is so important, because we can't change anybody else. And the thing is, by you thinking you're going to change somebody, that creates more suffering, because, like, the same thing in the end when somebody says, oh, closure. Closure is a double-edged sword, because you might get the closure you wanted, but you don't get the response you wanted, where it creates more pain. And then you don't get the closure because that person ghosted you and discarded you, where you're like, oh, if I just got to talk to them one more time, it'll make me feel better. That's actually what happened with me in June. It's because a person who I was, you know, getting so close with her. It's like, oh, it's my best friend, it's my soulmate, it's my twin flame. This is such dangerous ideas that I think now. It's like, you could love somebody, have connection, but they don't have to be your mirrored half, because that mirror could be a reflection of yourself, which was not another person, you know? And then, you know, with that person, it's just like, all of a sudden they disappear, and you're like, okay, well, if I could just get closure. And the thing is, it's funny because I have certain things that happen. You could call it psychic abilities or whatever. I don't like to label stuff, but I remember I was with a friend. I was going for a walk. I bumped into a friend that I know for 25 years, went to his wedding. I know for so long, where he had to leave to pick up his wife, and something told me to leave now. There's two girls we were talking to. I could have sat there and talked to them for an hour. Something said, leave now. And there's two ways I could go, either left or right, to get to the same place. Something said, leave now and go this direction. So 5 blocks later, I bump into this person that didn't give me closure, that ghosted me and discarded me in the most ruthless way, because she knew all my childhood wounds, core wounds. So when I walked up there, I was like, can we speak? And she looked at me in such a way of hatred, which I never experienced before, because now the mask is off and I'm not the one she's trying to get. And it was just like, she's just like, no. She looked me up and I said, no. Oh, and I was just like, wow, I wanted closure, right? She's like, no, you're making me extremely uncomfortable. And she stormed off. And she goes, if you send me anything ever in the mail, I'm going to the police. And I'm like,
Wow.
2 weeks ago, I was the ultimate. And that's something we could talk about real quick, because we talked about with the platter, right? So, like, the ultimate person in your life, it's like, you couldn't live without me. I was like everything. And now all of a sudden, I'm like discarded and hated. But the funny thing is, what did I want? I wanted a closure. So something gave it to me. It gave me the ability to feel and sense. And this person was only 10 seconds away from their building. If I didn't leave at that time and walk down that street, I would have never seen them. It was just, it's not possible. So something that guided me and gave me my closure. Did that help? Oh, fuck no. That sent me deeper into the hole that I wanted to dig for myself. That created more pain and more suffering. And if she ever listens to this, she'll probably be happy about that. You know? So double-edged sword, speaking the truth, but it was just like, holy shit, I could never imagine that. And then it's just like other things came to me and I was like, oh, this person definitely has bipolar traits. Something told me, go on the computer and Facebook and look in a Facebook group for bipolar. Boop, she pops up. Boop, she pops up. I'm like, holy shit. You know, so things come to me and put me in the right direction. And I was like, I took screenshots so I know I'm not crazy. And then that night she took herself off those groups. You know, so I'm like, okay, I know that. And I was like, oh, the first time we hung out, she was, oh, my husband or ex-husband is narcissistic manic depressive. Sure, she was warning me. So I'm like, oh, so then I went to the therapist for the first time. She goes, oh, it sounds very narcissistic. The problem with that term, it's overused, like love and God. So people are like, oh, that person's a narcissist. It's different when you have that personality disorder because it's not something that is taken lightly. It's something that really alters your state of being, you know. But I got the closure I wanted, right? I wanted it. I asked, oh, please, please, Lord, give me some closure. And I got it. And remember, we don't get what we need. We don't get what we ask for. We get what we need, you know. So that's what happens. So it becomes a dangerous thing. Did it make me feel better? Oh, not at all. It just showed me how the person really feels about me now at this point in time, which, you know, I have no control over. So what do? I beat myself up over, and that's it. And another thing is, too, it's like people are like, oh, this person loved me and they cared about me so much. How could they be like this? And you got to remember, when the person is love bombing you and charming you and mirroring you, they're putting you up on a pedestal, right? There's only one way to go once you're on that pedestal, and that's down. There's no further you could go. And it's funny because earlier we were talking about if you're the one who's pushing me up on the pedestal, you know, and you're doing this, and I'm sitting on this throne that's on this platter, you have control of that platter. You could either keep me there, you could drop me down, which would devalue, right? Put me back up, bring me down, or just dump the whole dish and walk away. So putting people, you know, being put on a pedestal, I already knew that was dangerous because I don't like that. But I'm like, this is odd. Nobody's ever made me feel this way. You know, and even though I didn't care about it and it didn't affect me because I am a very confident person and positive person, so not toxic positivity, but people go, oh, you know, you are a vulnerable person and you had low self-esteem. That's why they did that to you. It's like, no, even if you're very confident and secure, getting that type of feedback rewires your mind and your synapses and everything where you become addicted to it, even though it's not making you feel better. Now, when a person takes it away, it's like a drug, you know, stopping drugs cold turkey. Your body's going to go through a lot of shit because, like, covertly, you were changed on a cellular level that you weren't even aware of till the plug was pulled.
When you are love bombed, that is us wanting to project the fantasy that we want. I am making you into somebody who you are not. And the reason why I'm putting you on the pedestal is because of my fantasy in my head that I want you to be. So I'm doing all of these things because you have to match my fantasy. I'm not doing it because I want to fucking fuck you up later. I'm doing it because you are, in my mind, I'm going to make you into my Prince Charming. So I'm going to put you up there. This is what I'm going to do. And the reflection I get from you, oh, you just fucking love me, buddy. You fucking love me because I put you up high. But this is because you are to be my everything. That's your job. Your job is to be my everything. And when you fuck up, which you will, because you can't match my fantasy, that's when, you know, fucking fall off. This is why I'm gonna shit on you, because you did not match the fucking bullshit that I made up in my head, that you don't even know about. You don't even know. I have this whole book of who you're supposed to be, and I didn't give it to you and say, learn this shit, Keith. This is what I want. This is what I want you to be. I made it up in my head, and you're going to fucking fail because you didn't read the book, and I'm going to punish you for the rest of your life because you not match my crazy, you know? And that's why it's not anybody's fault. It's none of your guys' fault. The shit that we make up in our head. My ex told me, now I'm fucking cool as shit, man, but my recent ex is like, you're not who I thought you were. Yeah, I'm not going to be your mom, fucker. I'm not going to be your mom. I'm not going to go to work while you're at home jerking off to somebody else, you know, in your ink and fucking paint for that. Fuck you. The only thing that he didn't know is I will ruin his life. His other bitches wouldn't ruin his life. I'll fucking ruin your life. And I'll go after all your girls too. You know, I'm crazy. I'll fuck you up. Because that's disrespect. That's my huge thing, disrespect. Usually I just leave people and I'm like, fuck you, I don't need you. And I will discard them and their fucking everything. I will never, ever talk to you again. I am not coming after you. There will be no Hoover. There will be no nothing. You are trash to me. I will not come after you. But I did with my recent ex. Because I love to punish. I love to punish him. So yes, because he was not what I made up in my head. He was supposed to be my fucking fantasy forever, and he fucking failed, and I'm gonna fucking punish him until he's buried in the fucking ground. I told him once, I said, I would hold you on a burning fucking bridge and kill myself just to know that you were dead. I told him that. This is my crazy brains with this person. But because he didn't match my fantasy. Now he's saying you're not. That makes me really fucking mad. I'm all getting triggered now and shit. How dare you fucking say that I am not? See, that's me being a hypocrite too, right? Because this is what I do, you know, to him. And how dare he fucking say that I was not the fucking perfect person? To me, I am fucking perfect. I work my personality like a goddamn job, you know, to be fucking everything for that fuck. The ultimate fucking fantasy for this person. He's trying to tell me that I wasn't good enough. Fuck you, bro. Fuck you. I'm sorry, but you're seeing my triggered reaction, you know, live. This is my live being pissed off at this fucker. So yeah. Sorry.
Here's since we're going down that road. Okay, so say, I mean, I already know, but I want this for other people to hear. So now to say you're with somebody and everything's still good. What you thought in your head is still what they're enacting, you know? But it gets to a point where you can't act anymore and you want to be more of yourself. And then, because you know that you've kept up this facade for so long, you start becoming resentful that you had to do this to make them happy. So they need to be punished because you had to keep this fucking marathon of shit where it's like, okay, I'm done. And then all of a sudden, you know, the devaluation and then the other stuff starts to come, right?
I know. Faceted, isn't it terrible? Fucking sucks, man. It sucks. So not only you can't win anyway, you know, and it's not just, you know, I'm this perfect, you know, dictator person that's just attacking. This is, my brain is telling me this. My brain is the one that's telling me that you're the nothing. That how dare you fucking, you know, like the liar part of me better than, you know, my broken ass, you know. And then when you start to love the broken ass, I fucking hate you too for that. So you can't win.
Yep.
You can't,
Disgusting. You like
I,
this? You're disgusting.
yeah.
Well,
Now I know, now I know better, Keith. You can love my broken ass. I appreciate it. But I mean, see, you know what I'm saying. So people who are not aware
which is
of
the thing is
the
people who are
look, yeah,
watching, they have to
we
know it's the majority. I mean, say if you're one out of, say you're one out of, say, even 10,000. How many other people are really self-aware? I mean, look, if you look at social media, right? You have, I think, Lee. I don't know if his name is Ben Taylor. You, say Sam Backen, and the Ultra. That's not a lot of people that are out there sharing how they think and how they feel genuinely compared to other people. It's like if you have 5 people that are out there giving this type of information, and there's, if you say 1% or 2% of the population has this, that's so small. So it's like, how many people are really getting the truth from the horse's mouth? It's very little. And
well,
just want anybody who's saying some stuff, I don't know how to maneuver this thing because I haven't done many of these, so I don't want to press a button and cut the conversation off. So if we don't get to something that you really want us to do, I apologize. It's not intentionally. I just, this is like your second live, right, on this platform. So I don't want to disrupt it because everything's going well, and I don't want to by accident delete or press some wrong button, But yeah, and then also it's like, I grew up in a dysfunctional home where my whole mom's side of the family has our cluster bees, and that's their beehive, And I grew up with that, so I've seen that a lot of different facets of it. I was married to somebody when I was 19. She was borderline for sure. She was definitely like a very pure breed. I mean, you could have other tendencies, but with other things. And then I was with somebody for 10 years. That's borderline for sure. And then I dated somebody who was bipolar. It was short-lived. And then the past year, I met somebody who I thought was my best friend, who, was a covert narcissist with bipolar disorder. So, it's like there's so many variations of the same thing. And like, for instance, I wrote a book on music notes. So there's a way of practicing in Indian classical music that some of the most well-known artists practice. That was the most difficult. There's a code called Mudokon system. So out of 7 notes, just 7 notes, you can make the most permutations you can make without anything repeating is 5,040 notes. Patterns, I'm sorry. Out of 7 notes, you can make 5,040 patterns. So imagine if you have from the DSM, oh, these are 10 symptoms, and these are 10 symptoms. And it's like, oh, I'm comorbid. And it's just like the combinations, even if you have 50 people with the same traits, but the combinations and the variations are so extreme. Because, like, I have somebody that I know that I love in my life. I'm not going to say the person because, it's family, but they're narcissists and they don't even know it. They're kind of getting an idea, but they don't like that from this page. But if you talk about the abuse section, of the spectrum, from like say verbal abuse and physical abuse, they're at a 0, from 0 to 100. But when it comes to the love bombing and manipulation and not caring about certain things and no empathy, they're close to 100. So everybody's on the spectrum. So getting the knowledge is important for your healing, but you're never gonna like, pigeonhole anybody into any category where it's like, oh, I know I am the master of all narcissists. I know the patterns. Every woman will act like this. Every man will act. This is your own delusion. And the thing is, it's like when you start to notice things, now you have a choice. And the thing that I've noticed too is like people who've grown up in a toxic household, they will justify this new love where it's like, well, I'm okay with this, I'm okay with that. It's like, well, if you are, expect the abuse because it's going to come. If you don't want to repeat it, don't repeat it. And the thing is learning enough from stuff that's like people that are putting this stuff out from a real place that's very rare. Like I'll go into that in a second. And you're learning this, and it's like, well, what she says. Well, as if she does this. No. Don't try to change what she says. Take it as the truth because she's sharing something with you that's very rare. It's extremely rare, and take it not with a grain of salt. Take it as the truth from her, where you could start to understand things, so you can let go, not grab tighter, because you're not gonna. It's like me trying to mold steel. It's not gonna happen. It's so people have to start to understand that, and from there they could heal. But when they start to read all these self-help books, well, if I do this, I do that, then you're projecting yourself onto them and you're not understanding them. And you're creating yourself more pain and suffering that's going to be more long-term. And another thing, like you said earlier, where you said that I was looking for these traits in other women, right? I wasn't looking for it, but if the traits were there, I was okay with it because in my subconscious, I grew up with this. So I'm like, I could handle that type of insanity because it's the norm, right? And then when I got to the point where I started to really learn and understand this, I go, holy shit, I can't handle this, and I don't want to handle it anymore. So now when I see these traits, I can't give them the benefit of the doubt. I have to heed to the flags. When somebody's waving a flag, you don't go, that's not a flag, or it's made out of different material. It's like, you got to take that and stop making excuses for it. Because now, when the hammer drops, when all the whole honeymoon phase ends, and you're like, oh, I knew this was going to happen. Well, whose fault is it now? It's like karma. It keeps repeating itself till we learn our lessons. And then coming back to you, there's a lot of people that talk about stuff on a very superficial level. Like, well, if this person, an empath, this is the levels of empathy. If you're a narcissist, this is this. And this, you do this, this is, it's like they're telling you stuff that people already kind of know, but they're putting it almost into chronological order that's more understanding, but there's no feeling behind it because most people that are a little self-aware don't want to go into that dark place and share that because that takes huge cojones. And you're really the only person that's been able to do that. And you're the only, you're really one of the only females that have. There's one woman who's from the UK that doesn't do anything anymore, but I think it's called like mum, borderline something. And she used to share stuff, but it still was like very on a superficial level. You're actually letting yourself feel the things and pulling up those files and letting everybody experience it full force, which is like, if they hate you for it, they have to look at themselves. If somebody can't take it and go, wow, I didn't think like that, or I didn't know that, but now I do, now I can use that for good, then that's a good thing. If they make excuses, you're just going to keep repeating the same shit over and over again. Just like, the stove's on, it's hot, you put your hand on it, you go, oh, that burns. Now it's still hot, you can see it's red. It's up to you to put your hand on it again. And you can't blame yourself. The stove didn't hurt you, you hurt yourself.
Yes.
So these things are important. And the thing is too, it's like, you've been doing all this research and reading for so long. I know of a bunch of people I could give, like I gave my mom a book on DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. This is something that's really good for borderlines. It's one of the most loving, most beautiful coffee coasters on her table. She just puts her fucking drinks on it. She's never opened the book and she never will.
Well, that's another thing is that's you trying to fix her.
Yeah. But the thing is, I don't have attachment to it. I'm just like, she's like, well, what's this thing that you talk about? I was like, oh, I'll get you the book. Because she asked for it. But I know she'll never open it. But the thing is, do I hate her for it? Am I aggressive, passive aggressive? No, I got you the book without any attachment. I did it out of love. What you do with it is totally up to you. I just gave you the opportunity to do what you want. But most people don't want to go there because, going into that dark place is very scary for people. And they don't want other people to know the truth.
Well, it's not just that, it's you won't get it. You don't fucking know. I have wished that I could just touch somebody and, like the fucking Matrix, have that shit downloaded into you so you would know.
But you're doing that.
Yes,
You're
yes,
doing that.
yes, yes.
But
That is what I'm doing. I am downloading all of this ugly shit into you, but in, you know, a more positive way. I mean, you're never gonna feel, you know, what I feel. You're never going to experience every little mood shift. You're not going to feel the despair and wanting to fucking eat a bullet so I don't have to deal with this anymore, you know? Oh, it's fucking shit, man. It's shit. But I can compartmentalize different feelings. And so I try to lock away, you know, a lot of things that would keep me from continuing, you know. Because if I think too much, you know, uh, uh, I want to give up. But then I'm just like, no, you have all this positive light being shined, so great, you know, and positive, you know, and it keeps me from wanting to be, or my toxic, you know, my sleeping monster to fucking show up, you know. I feel every time I hear somebody tell me that I am doing something positive for them, I'm just like, it almost like chips away at the the dark shit that's covering me, you know. It's like, and I feel like it's crumbing away some of that, you know, stuff, because watching all of these complex PTSD videos and stuff before I even started this, you know, one of the things that they said is acts of service. Acts of service is what is going to make you feel so much better, that you're giving, you know, out. And I was just like, and that's what this is becoming, you know.
what people have to understand is like, it's helping you heal, but those symptoms and those feelings are never going to be gone. And people need to really understand that, you know. Oh, well, there's hope and there's light and there's this at the end of the tunnel. It's like, there is no end of the tunnel. You're in the tunnel and a little light is shining through, and that's good enough, because there was none before. And that is a huge thing in itself, where it doesn't have to be more. It's like, just that is useful in a way, but it's not going to take away anything. Just like, you know, if somebody got their arm chopped off, you could give them a prosthetic, but their arm is missing. You
Yeah.
know, it's going to help them live a better life, but the arm is still missing.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just using a crazy analogy because it's just easier for me.
That's fine. My thoughts still there. My you know, reactions to things. It's just I stop myself before reacting, and I kind of, you know, and I'm trying to think before I react. When I have a trigger and I sit in my pain, I'll be at work and I will just have this fucking, just this trigger inside of me, and I'm having to fake happy the whole fucking time as I am dying inside. I am just rage monster in fucking side the whole time, trying not to explode. And yeah, so keeping that shit contained is it is a fucking horrible feeling. It fucking sucks just the whole time. And I think this is why exploding on the person closest to us, because you ain't gonna go nowhere, honey, you know. You're going to deal with the shit. You're going to fight with me and you're going to whatever. And I'm going to get to unload all of this ugly and make it your fault. And oh, I feel so good. I feel so much better. Thank you. Thank you, baby, for taking my shit, for taking that off of me. You know, you have it. My gift to you. Now I don't have to feel this shit no more, you know, because I'm you. So now that I don't have anybody to vomit my ugly all over, I have to sit with that shit. And it sucks really bad. It fucking, yes. And so yes, so writing all of my notes and watching YouTubey things, and I was watching Little Shaman, and I was feeling fucking so much shame, man. I was feeling just dog shit just listening to her stuff. Because before, when I would listen to her shit when I was the victim, and it was, you know, it was you, but you know, I like cluster B people. So, you know, it was them, but it was also me, but I wasn't looking at myself. I was only looking at them. Now when I rewatch these videos and I'm like, I am the fucking scumbaggy thing that, you know, I'm the one that's using all these defense mechanisms. I am the one that is the fucking monster doing these things. But I mean, there's reasons why that I'm this monster, you know, and the reason why is my, you know, my trauma and my defense mechanisms and all the shit that I'm pushing onto you that is inside of me that has nothing to do with you. It is not you. And I'm just like reliving all of my past relationships and just fucking, you know, they're telling you, you ruined everything. You ruined all your relationships. You're the fuck up. You're the fuck up. You're the fuck up. And I'm just like, ah, you know, just the whole, I had to fucking shut it off. You know, I'm just like, I can't listen to this, you know, in the whole thing. I go back and I listen to pieces and I stop. And I'll listen to pieces and I'll stop. But just listening to that whole thing, it's just like, you know, fuck. And this is what, you know, these people want their disordered person to go through this shit. This fucking sucks, man. And nobody's going to want to go through that. I feel better when I shit on you. So you're going to tell me to take away my feel better? You know? Stop hurting me. And it's like, you're selfish. You're selfish. You want me to fucking feel this pain when you know, I can relieve it on you? Why can't you just be the codependent? Why can't you just take my shit? Don't you love me? Don't you love me? Aren't you going to take that pain from me? You know, that's what we think. I don't want to, you know, sit in this shit, muck, fuck. But that's why when you lose everybody, people are like, how did you become? How did you become? I said, I had to lose everybody. So quit trying to fix your fuck and get rid of him. Get rid of her so she can sink into her shit. Now, the thing is that they're going to scurry and try to find somebody else, you know. But one good thing about my toxic obsession with my ex is I was not going to taint my memory of my love for him by trying to find somebody else. He'll go do that because he can't be alone. He doesn't want to feel this shit. And for me, I'm like, I loved you so much that I will not go find somebody else. I'm going to fucking sit in my pain forever until, you know, to prove that I did love you, you little fucker. But I'm doing the, you know, the YouTubey thing, letting you know, can you love? Can you? Yes, I can fucking love. I'm this broken fucking oozing this fucking obsessive, my way of love. You know, it's not your way of love. This is mine. This is mine. I don't know what love is in a healthy way. You know, all I know is um, don't treat my kids like shit. That is love to me. Don't treat them bad. Validate their feelings. That is love to me. You know, my children, and it's because, you know, we had broken, you know, childhoods and shit, that we don't want to push our shit onto our kids, you know, so we're going to be better parents for these people. I fucked up anyways doing things, but
And well, hold on. That's just so everybody knows. That's your perspective of what you thought was right. That didn't happen on my end. You know what I mean?
no, I
So
mean, you're a good parent.
yeah. No. I'm just saying. You go, okay. Well, I need to be a good parent to do this and do that, right? I did the same thing, but I'm just saying my mom didn't use that perspective for
Oh,
us. No, so I'm just letting people know it's like it's not going to be the same. Also,
no.
you have two sides of the psychological spectrum. You could say you have, you know, the sociologist, which is your environment creates who you are, and then the psychologist is like this is how you were born, and it's like nature versus nurture. And I go, okay, well, you know, were you born this way or were you made this way? It's like, well, everybody has a genetic predisposition to everything, predisposition, right? To everything. Where I have this gene in my family, and it's not expressed through me. But if I have a child, it might be expressed through them. But on the other hand, I grew up in a super toxic, abusive household. So I should have become this according to those, you know, that formula. So that's another debunk the bullshit in a way.
Not really, because some people just become super codependent. They want to fix, they want to be the healer, they want to fix. That has come out too. So the toxic side, there's the total opposite side.
Yeah.
The one that, you know, I will fix you with my love, which you were when you were young, before
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
before we learn any different. So that was you. There's your narcissistic-y people, and then you who did the total opposite. That happens in fucking families all over the fuck.
Oh yeah, with everything on every aspect. You know, that's why you have, say, parents who are drug addicts or alcoholics, their kids will be 10 times worse than them or never touch drinks or drugs in their life.
Yes.
You know, but people are like, well, it has to do with your childhood. It's like, no, I could debunk that in a lot of ways with other people who have great childhoods but still are narcissists and stuff like that. So it's a combination of the two. It's like you could have the gene and then that will be expressed more or less according to luck or your environment growing up, or you might not have it and become that because of your environment or not. So it's like there's no same thing. There's no cut or dry thing where people are like, well, most people are narcissists. There's no hereditary thing. Well, how many people do you know run around going, I'm a narcissist. You're my offspring. You must have it too. You know, nobody runs around saying that. So you're never going to get that type of thing. That's why in therapy it's so hard to help anybody, because unless you go and you are, you know, true to yourself like you are, which is super rare, most people are going to manipulate the therapist. Where the therapist is just like, well, they have these
Like you do, Keith.
like I do. Mine thinks I'm amazing. You know, and in the beginning he was trying to be like, maybe you have this, maybe you have that, and she's like, fuck, I'm wrong. Well, how about this? No shit, I'm wrong. I'm like, well, if you ask me what you want, I'll tell you the truth. I go, certain things that I do are very ADHD. And I go, I know this since I'm 9 years old, but I've learned to control a lot of things. I'm never late. I'm always early to things. I never miss appointments. It's like, I do all these things that you're not supposed to. But then there's other things that I do. Somebody's like, oh, you can't pay attention. I can when I'm focused and I'm interested. But if I'm not, that's like the narcissistic trait where it's like, I don't want to be bothered with it because it's not interesting. It's boring. Let me go somewhere else. You know, so it's people like, well, you know, that's why some of the stuff has similarities. Also, I know I can't focus on one thing at a time. So if I read a book, I don't read novels. I'll read something on either Eastern philosophy or mental illness or whatever, but I'll read 5 books on the same subject. So I still feed my ADHD, but it's focused in a way where it's under control and it's not destroying anything. You know, same thing when I get to know somebody. I want to know a lot of stuff about them. It's not to love bomb or anything. It's because I'm just interested, and it's just there's no
Well,
there's no,
that, yes, and that's what it looks like. Your deep
yeah.
interest in someone is what a narcissistic person would do to try to get to know every little aspect about you. We do that to protect us, too. We know everything about you. That fuck, man. Just like with the chart reading and shit and astrology and stuff, I would want to know all of your fucking information so I can look it up. I want to know, your behaviors and stuff and your fucking personality and everything. Number one, I want to know if I get along with you. Number two, I want to know if you're easy to fuck with, meaning like you're gonna take my shit or not. That's the fuck with thing, because if you have a lot of emotional water in your chart, or if you have more fire, that means we're gonna fight. I'm fire, we're gonna fight. Or you're gonna have more water, that means you're gonna accept my shit. But water's going to destroy my fire too, so I'm probably going to get bored of you. You're going to make me not want to rage all the time, and I want to rage all the time. But now I don't know what the fuck is good for me now. It's like I want to be larger than life. I want to be a storm. That's what I want, and that's who I am. And I feel like if that's taken away from me, who the fuck am I now? Like all the Buddhist teachings and the fucking stripping of the ego. I am ego. You take that away, what the fuck am I? I feel like I will be non-existent. And I've read these things, and then being at peace and stuff. And believe me, I do like being in a peaceful state without the constant drama of my ex all the time. Because, you're living on edge all the time. You don't know if you're going to be knocked off the pedestal today. Is he going to love me today? Or is he going to fucking shit on me? Is he going to trigger me where I'm going to fucking knock him off his pedestal? So it's nice not being in that constant stress state. But I don't know. I mean, you see how I act all the time. You talk to me all the fucking time. You see that I'm, it's just I'm consciously aware of my, which I think is better,
Which again is people don't understand. It's super rare. I've been around this for 34 years. Nobody's self-aware. The ones that I have in my life are not self-aware. Even if I point it out to them, they don't give a shit because they don't give a shit. It's like, I didn't ask. I'm not looking there. I don't give a shit. It's like, it's like me pulling down my pants to show you the tattoo on my ass. Nobody asked to see it.
Well, all the people in the narcissistic chat group that we're in, they're aware. That's why they're there.
And that's amazing in itself.
Yes.
But there's so many that aren't because, again, the stigma. Like even my special friend this past year, she's aware of her bipolar disorder because she's on Facebook groups for it, but she's not in the other chats because this is a downgrade. This is a little bit better. I'm a little bit better person with this. But if I say I have this, even though I do, and I admit to it, that makes me really messed up. And I know I'm messed up, but I don't want other people to know. So I won't go in here. And this is, it's like it becomes this crazy talk of hide and go seek with yourself, and that's why a lot of people, after they get out of a toxic relationship, I don't care who you are, if you're a narcissist, it's hard to do that because you need the next supply, if you're pure bred, I would say. But it's like, if you can't spend time with yourself and get to learn about your triggers and other things and what worked and what didn't work and what's repetitive, it's going to keep going. That's why somebody goes, oh, I was an abusive childhood, abusive family. My first was a, alcoholic in a sense. My second one was a gambler, and then this one. And it's like, wow, 5 relationships of the same people with different faces. So when are you going to be aware of that and wake up and try to change things and stop creating excuses for it, because nothing's going to change. It's like I have family members that are in the 70s and 80s and 60s. And I go, man, they look so different now because they still act the same, but now they're old. And it's like, nothing has changed. And the game is old. I call everybody out on their bullshit where my grandmother just turned 87 Saturday. And I remember my birthday, she calls me. She's starting a triangulation with my uncle and my aunt. And I go, stop. And she's like, oh, fuck you. You know, she's sharp and witty. She's like, oh, fuck you. She's like, I can't talk, Mr. Perfect, and this and that. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear this shit. It's a record that's been played so long. I never even liked this song to begin with. So you know what? I don't want to hear it anymore. And then whenever she does stuff, I call her out, and she's like, she's a master manipulator. She's like, how the fuck do you notice everything? But I'm going to still do it anyway. But stop calling me out because I'm still going to do it. And it's the reality of things, So I know
you gotta remove yourself from that shit.
And then somebody asks Swami Satchidananda, who's an amazing Hindu monk, they go, oh, I do my meditation, I do my prayers, I read this, I read that, the Bhagavad Gita, blah, blah, blah. I do my yoga. It's like, but in this environment, I still feel anxious and irritated and stuff. He's like, well, he goes, your practice is not a bad thing. He goes, sometimes you have to change your environment, and some people go, oh man, I never thought of that. It's like, yeah, if you're in a job where somebody's treating you like shit all the time, I know it's tough these days with work, but look for a different job. One of my friends, she listened to me, not that I told her to, but I was like, you work your ass off every day till 10 at night. You get a salary, so you don't get a nickel after 6 o'clock, and you work till 10 o'clock. I go, you're a modern day slave. I go, you have no life because everything's to work, and you're just making ends meet. I go, you have to find something of the same thing which you enjoy, which you went to school for, but you could make a living and not be so used and abused. And she started her new job last week. She told me, she's like, I did it. But I didn't force her to. I just said, this is what you probably need to do. I'm not trying to fix you, but I don't want to hear you complain about the same thing if you're going to complain about the same thing all the time. But some people are very attached to their story. And you can't move.
I read that in your book. Yes, when people come and message me and they're wanting to know what their person is thinking, and they know that, I'm not a mind reader of, their person. Just, if it were me, if I was doing this, what would I be thinking, And they're telling me their story, and he's cheating, he's this, that, and the other thing. And I'm just like, he's cheating on you. Why are you still there?
Oh.
Go look at your fucking self. Go look at yourself.
Your self-worth.
Respect you. He's fucking somebody else, and he's coming back to you. You're garbage. He's coming back. He treats you like shit. And this one guy, all he did was like just send her an email, and she's like, running to him. And I'm like, you're a dog. I give you a treat and you fucking come. Here's your treat. Here's your little fucking nothing. Here's your speck of fucking nothing. And you're going to fight. Thank you. Fuck. So yeah, I call people out on their shit. I'm like, you want to be a fucking dog? You're a fucking dog. I'm doing nothing. I'm not changing. I'm not doing shit for you. I'm giving you fucking the bare minimum, and you're grateful? Get rid of this fucker. He doesn't give a shit about you. Get rid of him. He may have cared about you in the beginning, but now you're shelved. You're shelved. And he's just going to bring you down and fucking use you and then put you back up when he's done.
Because he knows he can.
Yes.
Because you've stripped your self-worth and your boundaries where you've created this. There's always two people in it. Because once you say stop and no contact, that's over. And once you always let the person in, just like what I say, if there's a little crack in the wall, and a little light comes through, and you don't plug it up right away, that's going to break that wall down, and that person's like, ta-da, I'm back, and I haven't changed, but I know you miss me, so get ready for the shitstorm about to come, you know.
I've been through that. I went back to X 100 times, so I already know. So I'm yelling at my past self, wake the fuck up. But
we're almost at 2 hours here. So I just want to say, I don't know how long this records. I'm just saying. So whatever it shows, it'll show, which is fine, you know, because it's not a big deal. But like also Lee posted something. Today's Tuesday, sometime maybe the weekend or something. It doesn't matter the timeline. But he has this one woman where she's a narcissist. He's like, sounds like a narcissist to me, where she's like, this motherfucker cheated on me. And the therapist is like, well, how do you feel? She's like, well, he cheated on me. She's like, yeah, I cheated on him all the time, but to cheat on me, it's like, she cheated on him dozens of times. She said something like that, where it's just like,
I saw,
once.
I saw that. That was funny.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
You know, the therapist is good because it's just like, well, how does that make you feel? You know, why do you think this? And it's just like, you know, it's the therapist.
Well,
She's
because we're hypocrites. You don't get to do what we do to you.
No.
You don't get to. It's a double standard.
Well, somebody that I know, I can't say the person's name, which I really wanted to, where he was treating some girl like shit, and she came back, and he treated her like shit, and she came back. And it's like, they had sex, and he's like, all right, we're done. Get the fuck out of my house. She's like, I can't believe that. He's like, well, you're the one who initiated it, so what am I going to say no? She's like, wow, you have double standards. He goes, yeah, they're my double standards. And I was just like, boom. Big thing, you know? So, I got a shout out from Brandon302. Keep up the good shit. Fire, fire. So today, our first live chat. This is your second one. This is, I think, my fourth one ever. You know, so this will, I'll repost this for sure. We'll figure out how I can get it to you, and this will go on most likely on your YouTube channel, which is the same thing, right? Cluster B Milkshake.
Yes.
So
I
you
wonder.
never there. Look on YouTube also. It's the same thing.
Well, I mean, if you post it to your YouTube and you tag me in it, it's going to come up on somewhere in my thing. I had somebody tag me in a video that they were critiquing me, and that came up on my thing too. But
well, I know I could do it on here. I just started YouTube. Really, you know, my YouTube is not really existent, so it's new. So I'll find a way to share it here, and then if I could find a way to do that, but I want to send it to you so you have it too. But you know, this is a first talk of definitely future ones, and there's no future faking here, right? It's like, you know, yeah, we'll talk every Tuesday at this time, and then it's like, hey, it's 7 o'clock, and you know, are you free? It's like, beep 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 beep. It's like, no answer. She future faked me. Fuck. You know, so, and actually there are traits that people have. If somebody you haven't seen for a while, you see somebody in the street you haven't seen from school, from elementary, you're like, oh fuck, I have to talk to this person. You're like, oh, can I get your number? It's like, dude, you ask for my number every time you see me, you never call me. It's like, oh yeah, we can hang out in the future. That's future faking. Everybody does it. It doesn't make the person a narcissist. You know, it's just, it depends on the extent and what it's meant to do. But, you know, hopefully everybody that was here tonight got some good information and good perspective on things from both ends, which is super important. And, you know, a deeper understanding where you can't make somebody think and feel the way you feel. It doesn't matter how badly you want that, you know. And you know, with Tara Brach, she always talks about radical acceptance. There has to be a radical acceptance, especially in this world, at this day and time, to help you not get sucked in to this other matrix of bullshit, and to help fix your own. Because as we get older, we collect more stuff, and to understand that and to be able to work with it and heal is important. And that's what, you know, this, like my Instagram was made as not to bash anybody on any end, is to help people understand so people can learn and grow and navigate on their own to help them with their lives, you know. So definitely I appreciate you sharing everything you did tonight.
thank you for having me.
I enjoyed it because it's just good. Everything was really good. And yeah, I mean, we'll try to cover other things. If we go into other directions, it's fine. We didn't really read questions because that becomes distracting and it breaks up the flow. Like if I was to sit there and read questions from my perspective, that means I really don't give a shit what you're saying. You know, I just want to try to break it up because I need to come back to me. So, you know, I mean, I did read some stuff and everybody was on the same page, and I'm happy that everybody got to jump on the train tonight and take the ride, and hopefully, from different perspectives, you could get some different ideas. But the whole important thing, I think, that you and I have in common, we do a lot of reading and a lot of research, on this, whatever it is. And like from Eckhart Tolle and other people, some people have gotten mass awakenings through suffering. And this is what, unfortunately, this is what we have in life. For us to get out of our comfort zone and to wake up, we have to be shooken up a little bit. And sometimes that comes through the form of suffering, where we can appreciate life and other things a little bit more, and we have no control over it. And to realize that's important, but to realize how we think and be more aware of how we react and respond to things does change things. But also, we have our own life. So for instance, somebody who's a monk or a priest, why do most of them not get married? Because they're focused on God and enlightenment. Because once you have somebody in your life, that's somebody else's shit you got to deal with in their karma, So this is probably one of the biggest reasons why they stay celibate and stay away from people, So anytime we're going to be with somebody or have somebody in our life, whether it's kids, family, it's like whatever it is, we can't live in a cave. So we have to understand these things so we can work through them. And then if you really want to go through the darkness to try to come out the other end, for some people that they can do, you have to do the deep dive into reading some books on certain topics that are tough to deal with, but that will loosen up those, chains on you, where you can at least get a little wiggle room, even if you're not free, and at least you can breathe better, and this helps life in general.
Namaste.
Thank you for letting me wrap things up. And Mr. Chicken is your poultry lie detector.
Yes.
So we'll do this in the future, and then whenever it is, because we'll post it up for you guys to know ahead of time. Today was kind of spontaneous, but it'll be recorded and plastered on our own, I guess, social media things. Are you yawning because I'm boring? Do you hate me? What the fuck?
I gotta go to bed in like an hour and a half. I've been up since.
I know. You're a trooper. You get up super early. So thank you again. Thank you, everybody. You can say namaste, and we must go, and we'll talk to you soon. Right?
Yes.
Enjoy. Talk to you soon. Have a good night. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.